Elden Ring is filled with mysteries and secrets. One of the most talked about for the last 2 years is a simple question: why did Radahn stop the stars? A simple question, yet we didn't have an answer. We speculated right and left and we were wrong. The most prominent theory was that Miquella was trying to resurrect Godwyn the Golden, which ended up being wrong. He actually wanted to resurrect General Radahn himself. Miquella saw strength and kindness in Radahn, and he wanted him to be his king consort. But I believe Radahn didn't want the same thing, and that's why Radahn halted the stars to stop Miquella's plan. Let me explain. We were shown in the ending of Shadow of the Erdtree that Miquella made a promise to make Radahn his king consort. The cutscene looks like a prayer or maybe a dream of Miquella. There is no one with him, so did Radahn actually know of Miquella's promise? Other details suggest that yes, he did actually know, like the whisper of Melania to Radahn during their fight. But we don't know if Radahn accepted or did he refuse. We don't even know if he was under the influence of Miquella's charm like his brother Mo. Now I believe that a younger Radahn did accept the promise of Miquella, while the older Radahn refused. After knowing the true nature of Miquella, a lot of small details imply this. For example, the usage of the younger Radahn's armor. The difference between the two armors are incredibly important. The helm on the left side has the same hairstyle of Godfrey, while on the right side it's the hairstyle of Radahn. Now the description of the older Radahn helm reads as follows. Radahn inherited the furious, flaming red hair of his father Radahn and is fond of its heroic implications. We know that Radahn was fond of Godfrey, but it seems in his younger days he was utterly captivated by him, while as he got older he realized who Radahn truly was. If we look at phase 2, things would make much more sense. Look at the way Miquella is latching himself to Radahn. To me it looks super reminiscent of the way Sirach latches to Godfrey to make him the perfect lord. That gives much more to the whole comparison between younger Radahn and Godfrey, and that's why I believe in his younger days Radahn accepted the offer. He wanted to be the warlord of Miquella, just like Godfrey was to Marika. But as he got older, he realized that this wasn't a good call. He embraced more of his heritage to King Consort Radahn, and he realized the true nature of Miquella, so he refused. But Miquella won't take no as an answer. One of the most epic fights in Elden Ring was between Melania and Radahn. During that fight, Melania couldn't beat Radahn, but she needed to at all cost. For a long time we speculated about her reasons, but after the DLC we know that it was because of the promise. We can learn from the description of the consort armor what Melania whispered to Radahn. She told him, "Miquella awaits for you, O promised consort." So Melania was sent to kill Radahn in order for Miquella to use his soul and make him his king consort. Now I heard some people saying that this was part of the promise, to give Radahn the best fight of his life, but I don't believe that. First, Melania went to such extreme that she almost died, if not for the heroic actions of Finlay. Second, it was a full-on war between the forces of the Erdtree and the Red Mains, not just a 1v1, but most importantly, the way Radahn resisted death to such extreme is what seals it for me. The last words that Radahn heard was that he will be used by Miquella. If that was his wish, then why did Radahn fight death so hard? Radahn used all of his willpower, all of his determination, so that he won't die and he won't lose control of the stars. To me, it was because the words that Melania whispered to him. If we look at the description of Melania helm, we can find something interesting. It reads as follows. Melania awaited Miquella at the foot of the husk. My brother will keep his promise. He possesses the wisdom, the allure of a god. He is the most fearsome Empyrean of all. For a long time we didn't know what the description meant. What promise is Melania talking about? But we now know what promise she was talking about. It's the promise of achieving godhood and making Radahn his king consort. But the rest of the sentence is implying a very sinister way of achieving this promise. First, this was after the fight between Melania and Radahn because of the first sentence. So after Melania failed, she was saying that Miquella would come up with a plan to fulfill his promise using his allure. And he did. When we reach the Gate of Divinity, Miquella talks to the champion of the festival. The champion of the festival is us, the Tarnished. Jaren called us by that name many times, but most importantly, before that sentence, Miquella calls us, my loyal blade. But how are we Miquella's loyal blade? Putting the words of Miquella with the description of Melania's helm, we would come to the conclusion that Miquella used his allure to make us kill Radahn after Melania failed. We also know that he used his allure, his enchantment, to make Mohg kidnap him. This resulted in us killing Mohg, which did set in motion the plan of Miquella to use the body of Mohg to house the soul of young Radahn and make him his king consort. I actually already did a video about Miquella planning our entire journey a couple of months ago. Be sure to check it out after this video and before my updated version. So that's why Miquella called us his loyal blade, because he made us kill Radahn and Mohg for him. And that's why I believe Radahn halted the stars, because he refused to become Miquella's consort. When he knew that Miquella started to make his move, he halted the stars to put his fate into stasis, to stop him from forging a new fate. In the base game, we can find an item called the Ember Starlight in front of a statue of Miquella. The statue is surrounded by sacramental buds, which are plants growing from blood. And this place is called in the internal files Saint Trina's Hideaway. So it seems this item is very connected to Miquella. I already made a video about it before the DLC, but after the DLC we can be sure that indeed it belongs to Miquella. The item description reads as follows. If the stars command our fates, then ember-hued stars must command the fates of the gods. Such is the belief that inspired the use of these shards to prepare a most special draft. Now if you deliver this to Sylvis, he will prepare the special draft. This draft can be used to control demigods. Sounds familiar? It's literally what Miquella does. We know from the DLC that Mohg was under the control of Miquella, sealing the deal that this starlight belongs to Miquella. Now I believe that this was the attempt of Miquella to remove his current fate from the stars, which is connected to Saint Trina, and then forge a new one in which he discards Saint Trina. When Radahn sensed what Miquella is doing with the stars, he halted them in order to stop Miquella's fate, to put it into stasis. And I believe we finally know why Radahn did that, because he knew that Miquella was a monster, and he didn't want to become his king consort. That's why even in a state of being a mindless beast, he wouldn't give up. Truly Radahn was a hero. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button and tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Stay tuned for the next video. Until then, farewell, fellow Tarnished.